And the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. And as I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
People didn't wake up one morning and say we're going to pass the Voting Rights Act. It was not out of the goodness of someone hard. But people struggled. People bled. People died. When I was growing up many years ago in Southeast Alabama, people could not register to vote simply because of the color of their skin. They had to pass a so-called literacy test, interpret certain section of the Constitution, pay a poll tax. And I remember one day standing there with about 60 African-American men and women to get a copy of the so-called literacy test. And the sheriff, very big man, mean man, he said to me, John Lewis, you're an outside agitator. You're the lowest form of humanity. I looked Sheriff James Clark straight in the eyes and I said, Sheriff, I may be an agitator, but I'm not an outsider. I grew up only 90 miles from here and we're going to stay here until these people are allowed to register to vote. Then in another little town about 35 miles from Selma, a young man by the name of Jimmy Lee Jackson involved in a march for the right to vote. A confrontation occurred. He was shot in the stomach by a state trooper. And a few days later, he died at a local hospital in Selma. Because of what happened to him, we made a decision, the movement did, that we will march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, 50 miles away.
We're marching today to dramatize to the nation, dramatize to the world, that hundreds and thousands of Negro citizens of Alabama, but particularly here in the Blight Belt area, denied the right to vote. We intend to march to Montgomery, to would send grievance to Governor George C. Wallace.
It was a beautiful Sunday afternoon. We started walking in twos, 600 strong, no one saying a word. It was so orderly, so peaceful. We came to the highest point on the bridge. Down below we saw a sea of blue, Alabama State Troopers. We continued to walk. We got within hearing distance of the state trooper. A man identified himself and said, "I'm Major John Cloud of the Alabama State Troopers. This is an unlawful march. It will not be allowed to continue."
See that they turn around and disperse.
They came toward us, beating us with nightsticks and bullwhips, shrimping us with horses. I was hit in the head by a state trooper with a nightstick. Had a concussion at the bridge. I thought I saw death. I thought I was going to die. The next thing I knew, I had been admitted to the local hospital in Selma. Dr. King came by and said, "John, don't worry. We will make it from Selma to Montgomery. The Voting Rights Act would be passed." And he was right. 2 weeks later, we marched all the way from Selma to Montgomery. And President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act into law on August 6, 1965. The Voting Rights Act changed America, not just the South, but it changed America. It transformed Southern politics. When black people started registering and voting. So what happened in Florida and Georgia reminded me of the dark past. I just felt like I was living my life all over again, like I passed this way once before.
They see that the whites are so evenly divided that every time they vote, the race is so close, they have to go back and count the votes all over again. And which means that any block, any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump.
There's a lot of people in here who have different agendas and different attitudes, but we did all come together on a peaceful and on one accord. This was a signal sent to City Hall, to the 5th floor, who sent no one down here to make sure that the city that he resides over, that he could step in and say that he's doing something. First of all, I'd like to say one major thing. Stop blaming just anybody for the violence in the city of Chicago. Blame the right people. Not just white people, blame the right people. Because it ain't just white folks a part of this. But it is on the 5th floor. It is on the 5th floor. The 5th floor took your schools. The 5th floor just took all your jobs that he said that he gave to the ex-offender. It's the policies of the administration, and every single alderman was a part of this criminal process that messed over our people. And you was right, brother. You was right. They should let Pharaoh go. But some of these Negroes that say they are ministers need to let them go too. They need to let them go. Our people are suffering and being devastated. We have boarded up houses in every community in our community. It's almost like the curse of Pharaoh. Every other house is boarded up in our neighborhood. Why can't we build it up? So my question is this here, Mr. President, because he watches your program. Mr. President, the man that you have sent down here as the mayor hate us. Ain't no other way of getting around it. We asking the President of the United States. We asking the President of the United States. Let us, the grassroots people, not these name brand blue ribbon Negroes, us, the grassroots people, let us take our bills. Stop giving them people, them evil people our money. Don't give them our money.
What's your name?
Kunta Kinte.
I want to hear you say your name. Your name is Toby. What's your name?
Kunta.
Lord God, help that boy. They're gonna whip him dead.
Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
A time comes when silence is betrayal.